Welcome to the Stand Independent Conference presentation on sanitation. Let me introduce myself. My name is Amy Kincade. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area with my family. My background is in chemical engineering, so as much as I hate to admit it, I was really well suited for this topic. I only have 20 minutes here, and because this topic is so big, I'm going to give you an overview of the PowerPoint presentation that I prepared. There are 126 slides here with links, side notes, video tutorials, and recipes. The intention is to give everyone access to the PowerPoint document itself, and so you can go through the documents and tutorials on your own. I did my best to find the best examples of each topic, so really this is a curated presentation of the efforts of many more people. In the notes, I've also included links to where you can purchase any equipment or tools that you might need. Please take the time afterwards to go through the document, read the notes, watch the videos, and get a better depth of understanding on each topic. Assumptions here is that you can't buy from the store, but you have access to all the raw material and equipment to make what you need. The first topic is soap. We cover personal protective equipment. This is a very basic soap making tutorial. It walks through the basics step by step. Here are a couple of extra tools that you might need in addition to your standard kitchen equipment, particularly the hand mixer. You're going to want to consider getting a mechanical scale. Chemistry demands precision, so it's important that you can accurately measure how much lye you're putting into your soap. I provide links to different lye calculators. The different oils and fats that you will want to use will determine how much lye to use. What kind of soap you're making is also important. Body soaps have high superfat concentration, while dish and laundry soaps have low superfat concentrations. What's a superfat? I'll explain that in the notes. Once you've figured out a good recipe, write it down. I provide a tried and true soap maker's recipe here, also a link where you can get lye. Bar soaps will need to cure for 4 to 6 weeks. Why? I explain that in the notes. Here I've included a great video on how soap works on a molecular level. There's two kinds of lye. Sodium hydroxide is used for hard soaps, and potassium hydroxide is used for making liquid soaps. When you can't buy it, you can make it. You can make your own sodium hydroxide through the electrolysis of salt water. Here's a video giving a proof of concept overview, and another video that goes into detail on how to build the production cell. The second one demonstrates the successful end product in pH testing. You can do pH testing with boiled red cabbage. More about that in the notes. Here's a tutorial on how to make potassium hydroxide from wood ash and a recipe for dish soap. If you need more, here's a step-by-step tutorial on how to make a good dish soap. You can also use this as a template for making your own shampoo. Just increase the amount of superfat in your recipe. It's very useful to have a hand washing station. Here's a step-by-step tutorial on how to build one. Keep your food prep sink separate. Pictured here is one available on Amazon with a functioning faucet. This will teach you how to build a jerry can that can be pressurized for on-demand water at your kitchen sink. A couple of equipment options that you'll need in order to pressurize. Another option is a PVC frame with a collapsible sink. This is a step-by-step build. Moving on to personal hygiene. Kids get dirty, but are generally easy to wash. Grown-up sized tubs use much more water. There's build instructions in the notes. Consider shower and bathroom privacy, keeping wet and dry areas separate. Also, don't make mud. There's several options for accomplishing that. Shower options can either be gravity fed or through a pressurized can. On-demand water heater is great in concept, but becomes immediately obsolete if you can't refill your propane cylinder. Here are a couple of examples of heat exchange to make hot water. There's a video tutorial on how to make one from a rocket stove. This is what a rocket stove looks like on the inside. Again, links are in the notes. You can make your own deodorant. Here's a step-by-step tutorial. Make your own toothpaste, mouthwash. You'll notice that many of the ingredients are the same. People get dirty. Have a plan beforehand to get clean. So let's talk about laundry. We go through the options for agitation. Here's a tutorial on building a bucket washing machine. Super easy, very efficient, and cheap. Here we have a 2-compartment system, how to ring, and please don't think you can do it all by hand. These are a couple of examples of an all-in-one washing ringing system, either ready built or build it yourself. Another very efficient design. Please take the time to watch the demo video. It's very impressive. Whatever system you go with, take the time to practice. You might find it's more backbreaking than you anticipated. Ergonomics is important. A couple of different drying options, links in the notes. Consider what you wash. It used to be that people would only wash their intimate items and spot clean everything else. Here's a laundry detergent recipe, instructions on how to make it. Now, one of the ingredients is washing soda. Washing soda. Where do you get washing soda when you can't buy it? It can be made by heating up baking soda. Well, where do you get baking soda? It's a simple chemical reaction. More on that in the notes. Borax is something that is found, not made. It's actually from salt deposits from dried seasonal lake beds. Here's a recipe for making non-chlorine bleach. One of the ingredients you'll notice is hydrogen peroxide. So next we cover how to make hydrogen peroxide. Again, it requires electrolysis, only this time with pure water instead of salt water. Here are two really great videos from the CAT group demonstrating the development of small-scale on-site manufacturing of hydrogen peroxide. Next, we're going to talk about alternatives for disposable supplies. Cloth diapers have many different designs. They are shown here in all gray because I wanted moms to focus on the design and not the fabric. I go through each different cloth diaper design available on the market. All-in-one snap-in, hybrid snap-in, pocket diaper. These tend to be the cheapest, but not necessarily the most functional. Newborn, potty trainers. And this video is a girlfriend talking to her new mama friend, explaining her cloth diaper system and waste management. Here is your baby wipes alternative. Plan a cloth and a link to a recipe to make your own baby wipe solutions in the notes. Witch hazel is one of those ingredients, so this slide explains how you can make it. Women also need reusable alternatives for sanitary supplies. This video provides an honest review explaining ease and use of maintenance. Here we cover alternatives to tampons. If you've never heard of menstrual cups before, here's a doctor's instruction on how to properly use and maintain one. Here are the resources to cover adult incontinence needs. Links are in the notes. All of these cloth diapers and sanitary pads can be laundered normally. So let's talk about waste management. Have you considered what you're going to do when toilet paper isn't an option? Talking about urine, its usefulness was actually the beginnings of organic chemistry. In the notes, you'll learn some interesting historical facts about the term piss poor. One of the uses of urine is as a pregnancy test, but back in the day, it was using wheat and barley. Harvard fact-checked this. This old pregnancy test was accurate 85% of the time. I talk about urine as a fertilizer. You've got to sterilize it first, but it is effective. It's not my favorite method for waste management, however, because it requires that you separate solid and liquid waste. On this slide, I cover the different options for homestead toilets, some of which aren't sustainable without either electricity or industrial maintenance. I've shown here some of the commercially available composting systems. However, in this regard, simple is far superior. The bucket and sawdust system is used and preferred by most homesteaders over any other system. Stacy gives a tour of the system in her house. Spoiler, there is no smell. Doug walks through the compost stall build. Design on these is important. He explains more in the video. Here's a demo from a different homesteader on finishing off and starting a new composting pile. In this video, Doug gives a demonstration of what adding to the compost pile looks like. As discussed previously, sawdust is used to control the odor and aid in decomposition. You can also use wood ash or quicklime. Where do I get quicklime, you may ask? This slide explains the limestone cycle and how both quicklime and hydrated lime are made. Quicklime can be used for not only treating biological waste, but for the clean and organic burial of the deceased. Hydrated lime has many uses. There's a whole list of videos on the ways to use it. One that I'd like to point out is flea control. Here's a fun historical detour on how the Pope's hatred of cats led to an explosion of the rat population and the Black Death. More on that in the notes. Here we're covering what to do about garbage. The notes has several links on how to convert plastic waste into usable biodiesel. This next section is all about chemical manufacturing. Process of fermentation is turning sugar into alcohol and then alcohol into vinegar. What's a sugar? When you hear ose, fructose, maltose, lactose, sucrose, these are all sugars. Yeast will convert sugar into alcohol. There's a more in-depth presentation on winemaking, so I'll not get into that here. For our purposes, I'm only going to look at the quick and dirty sugar to alcohol fermentation process, what you'll need and what to do. Ethanol converts to vinegar using acetic acid bacteria and plenty of oxygen. Here's a tutorial on how to make apple cider vinegar where we aren't worried about creating a stopping point in between the alcohol and vinegar stages. In this method, alcohol and vinegar are being made simultaneously. Common vinegars typically used in food. However, what we want is to make clean white vinegar that is suitable for cleaning without a sticky residue. This requires us to have a controlled process from sugar to alcohol and then distill that alcohol into something more concentrated. There are two kinds of distillation equipment, single or multi-stage. This is a good overview of the differences. Here are the links to where you can source either of these distillers. Really, it comes down to convenience, either processing multiple times through one distiller or one time through a distillation column. This is a great overview and demonstration of a home model distillation column. Also in the notes is another detour of how to make ethanol for use as a fuel. Once you've made high concentration ethanol, there's a ton that you can do with it. Extracts like vanilla tinctures, sanitizing the skin. Much more versatile than isopropyl alcohol. More information on tinctures and extracts. So once you have a clean, high concentration ethanol product, you can dilute that back down to 5% by volume with distilled water in preparation for making distilled white vinegar suitable for cleaning. Why? Because adding the acetic acid bacteria to a concentrated ethanol will only kill your starter. Here is a step-by-step process on how to convert your clean 5% alcohol into vinegar. There's no video tutorial in this because distilled white vinegar is so cheap and easy to manufacture that nobody bothers to make it at home. Now that you've learned to make all of these household chemicals, you're ready to use them for the household cleaners and cleaning solutions. In the notes are recipes for window cleaner, multipurpose cleaners, and polishes. The last and most important topic we will be covering is fat. Here's the history of making olive oil, the equipment that is still used today to manufacture virgin olive oil. This is a tour of an old olive oil press that is still in use. Absolutely riveting. For home use, there are a few good countertop options. The Amish hand crank model is demonstrated here. The automatic extractor is demonstrated here. Other oils that you can make at home without a press include coconut oil. Walkthrough tutorial on how to make coconut oil. Shea butter has a similar process. It's interesting to watch the women make shea. However, the nuts generally aren't available here in order to experiment with this yourself. Lastly, I cover essential oils and the 3 different methods of extraction. Cold press is often used for citrus peels. However, the machinery is complex and has not been scaled to home use. Resins and citrus oils can also be extracted by using another light oil as a solvent. Good carrier oils are olive oil, grapeseed oil, and avocado oil. I've linked an excellent tutorial on how to make avocado oil on the page. Plant-based essential oils and even citrus can be extracted through steam distillation. This is an excellent tutorial on how to do that. The distillation is slightly different than what we used for concentrating the ethanol, so it's good to have both kinds of distillers. Links in the notes. You may have noticed, though, as I've been going through very quickly, that the essential oils are an ingredient in many of the previous recipes. So you only need a flourishing garden and a good knowledge of medicinal properties of plants. Lastly, this slide will teach you how to render animal fat. This is the main ingredient of many of the soaps at the beginning. Again, there is much more information in the slides themselves, in the notes, links, and videos than I could possibly cover during a single conference talk. But I hope that with this PowerPoint document, I've curated good references and information for building a comprehensive sanitation program for your family.